depending on your tolerance for sing-alongs. The last week's FA announcement that there wouldn't be an official song for England's 2018 World Cup campaign either came as a huge relief or a disappointment. Jason Derulo's World Cup 2018 official anthem has arrived. And it's actually good. It's fair to say that over the years, the Three Lions musical history has ranged from the sublime to the ridiculous, with seminal indie bands to primetime TV duos getting in on the action, as well as various tone-deaf members of the actual squad, of course. Here are all of the 9 official songs ranked from worst to best. 9. England Squad. We've got the whole world at our feet. While England's first 2 official themes reached number 1 and number 2 respectively, their third bombed at number 68. It's not particularly surprising. We've got the whole world at our feet isn't just suffer from a tinny production and some half-hearted vocals from the 1986 England Squad. Its tune, adapted from the popular traditional "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," had been used by Nottingham Forest's FA Cup team just 6 years earlier. 8. Ant and Dec. We're on the ball. 5 years after waving goodbye to Planet Pop, Ant and Dec briefly revived their musical careers with this novelty song for the 2002 World Cup. Based on a football chant written by Harold Spiro, who won an Ivor Novello Award for it, the catchy but irritating homage, "On the Ball," proved that the Pop Idol presenters were wise to stick to their day jobs. 7. England Squad. This time, we'll get it right. Knocked out in the second round of the 1982 World Cup, England's squad failed to deliver on the promise of its optimistic and annoyingly infectious theme. But written by the man behind Kevin Keegan's unlikely foray into the pop charts, head over heels, this time we'll get it right very nearly reached number 1. In fact, only the mighty pairing of Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder's Ebony and Ivory kept it off the top spot. 6. Gary Barlow plus various artists. Sport Relief's Greatest Day. Obviously, the original is a bona fide classic, while the star-studded version for the 2014 World Cup proves that footballers shouldn't go anywhere near a recording studio. Indeed, Gary Lineker may be one of England's greatest ever strikers, an effortlessly skillful TV presenter and all-round national treasure, but sadly his singing voice is about as impressive as his choice of underwear. Michael Owen, Jeff Hurst and the total half of iconic 80s pop duo Glenn and Chris are just a few of the other sporting heroes whose musical prowess leaves a lot to be desired. The random collaboration also includes Pixie Lott, Conor Maynard and not just one, but 2 Spice Girls. 5. Shout for England. Shout back in the Meadow. Dizzy Rascal was known as the Mercury Prize-winning grime artist, hailed by many as the voice of his generation. But by the time England's dismal 2010 World Cup campaign came around, the rapper had been reduced to recording this Tears for Fears cover with James Corden, the man partly responsible for the film Lesbian Vampire Killers. Despite reaching number 1, Shout is a pretty charmless cover, which unsurprisingly failed to spur on the team to any kind of glory whatsoever. 4. Embrace. World at Your Feet. Having experienced a second win thanks to the Chris Martin-penned Gravity, late 90s indie survivors Embrace seemed like an obvious choice to record England's official 2006 World Cup theme. World at Your Feet contains the kind of soaring chorus that the Yorkshiremen are renowned for, but due to its slightly plodding production, it works better as an Embrace song rather than a sing-along anthem. 3. England United. How does it feel to be on top of the world? Of course, Greatest Day isn't the first England World Cup song that Emma Bunton and Melanie C have been involved in. Towards the end of the Spice Girls' 2-year Imperial phase, they also joined various members of Echo and the Bunnymen, Space and Ocean Color Scene, as well as the rest of their band members, on this 1998 single. How Does It Feel to Be on Top of the World was pretty much universally slated on its release. Although it still pales in comparison to the Three Lions, 98 and Vindaloo tracks, it's actually a half-decent slice of second-tier Britpop. 2. England squad, back home having penned the UK's first-ever Eurovision winner, Sandy Shaw's Puppet on a String. Bill Martin and Phil Coulter were tasked with writing England's first-ever official World Cup theme tune. Recorded for the 1970 World Cup, a tournament where England entered as reigning champions. Of course, back home it didn't win any awards for vocal ability. But the England squad gave it their all on a jaunty tune that topped the UK charts, and was later given a second lease of life by Frank Skinner and David Baddiel's Fantasy Football League. 1. New Order, World in Motion. Of course, there was only ever going to be one winner, the glorious soundtrack to the Italian 90s World Cup campaign, that remains England's greatest since 1966. Three Lions may have gripped the nation, but thanks to Stephen Hague's timeless upbeat production, some inspired samples of commentary and John Barnes' epic rap, New Order's World in Motion still remains the greatest football song of all time. More, from Babetto to Tardelli, the greatest goal celebrations in the history of the World Cup. More, from Voller to Valderrama, the greatest haircuts in World Cup history. More, from Baggio to Waddle, the worst misses in the history of the World Cup.